Hey, this is Super Game Ghost, and you're watching the 10 worst rated DS games. Let's start.
Number 10.
Zoo Tycoon DS is a simulation game published by THQ in 2005. Zoo Tycoon DS is part of the larger Zoo Tycoon franchise and is adapted specifically for the handheld console, with less features and consequently less fun. Players start with an empty zoo and are tasked with designing and building various exhibits. The primary goal in Zoo Tycoon is to keep both your zoo animals and visitors happy in order to maximize profits. Unfortunately, the developers didn't really consider whether or not you, the player, would even be happy about playing this garbage game. There is little to no incentive to even build your own zoo, especially since you can't even build a zoo where lions and tigers are able to roam freely among the zoo patrons.
A mentally unstable man.
Then it happens.
This game just doesn't let you have any fun. Also, I didn't notice this at first, but this game has little to no sound effects or music. Zoo Tycoon has an average score of 5 out of 10.
Number 9.
Welcome to Jenga.
Jenga World Tour is a digital adaptation of the classic Jenga game, which was published by Atari in 2007. The core mechanics of the game are based on the classic Jenga game, where players remove blocks from a tower and place them on top without causing the tower to collapse. Players use the DS stylus to interact with the blocks, simulating the experience of pulling and placing Jenga blocks. Now, why anyone would buy this DS game over the real-life Jenga is beyond me, especially since the DS game would have been 3 to 4 times more expensive than the physical game at release. Anyone who bought this game of their own volition at full price must really love Jenga, and is probably some sort of psychopath who needs help.
I guess I'm a pretty sick guy.
Jenga has an average score of 4.9 out of 10.
Timber! It's game over.
Number 8.
Superman Returns was developed by EA Tiburon and published by Electronic Arts in 2006. This quote-unquote game is really just made up of 2 to 3 minigames. There's one where you fly around and avoid obstacles, a boss fighting minigame with a long sequence of button prompts a la DDR, and occasionally you get to fly around a small map of Metropolis where you blow robots up. Also, there's only about an hour or 2 of gameplay with little to no reason to ever replay this thing again. Well, at least you have a bunch of reskinned Superman to choose from. Has there ever been a Superman game that didn't suck ass? I'm genuinely curious. Someone let me know. Superman Returns has an average score of 4.8 out of 10.
Number 7.
Brain Boost Beta Wave is a brain training game published by Majesco Entertainment in 2006. This game was developed by a Dr. Makoto Shichida of Newport University in Japan. Brain Boost games were designed to stimulate the right side of the brain in players. This came out when the popularity of the Brain Age and Big Brain Academy games were at their peak. Of course, this game is just a cheap knockoff and is really just made up of 5 minigames. And there's little to no variation in the types of exercises you're performing for each minigame. But who knows, maybe playing this game non-stop will somehow make you a genius. Playing this game has taught me one thing though, that I'm actually kind of bad with elementary math. So that's kind of bad. Brain Boost Beta Wave has an average score of 4.7 out of 10.
Number 6.
Need for Speed Most Wanted is a racing game published by Electronic Arts in 2005. In this game, players progress through a series of races and challenges to climb the ranks of the Blacklist, a list of the most wanted street racers. This title has a disclaimer at the beginning of the game which lets you know that the cars depicted in this game are going to look bad and feel even less enjoyable to drive with. Really though, they should have put another warning on the box cover letting people know that they were about to purchase a god-awful game. Need for Speed Most Wanted has an average score of 4.6 out of 10.
Number 5.
SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters DS is a card-based fighting game developed by SNK Playmore in 2006. The game features a card battle system where players use a deck of cards to battle opponents. Each card represents a character from SNK or Capcom games, and these cards have various attributes and abilities. Interesting factoid about this game is that the initial American version of this game had an unavoidable bug where the game would crash once you talked to an NPC, who you were required to beat in order to progress through the game. SNK recalled the game and mailed out new copies with the bug fix to those who were unfortunate enough to buy this game. The game itself just isn't very good, period. I've heard the original for the Neo Geo Pocket was kinda decent, but you're probably just better off playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway. SNK vs. Capcom has an average score of 4.5 out of 10.
Number 4.
Duke Nukem Critical Mass is a side-scroller published by Apogee Software in 2011. Unlike most Duke Nukem games, this title is primarily a side-scrolling platformer. The levels in this game were designed to be as repetitive as possible. The controls are slow and sloppy, while the graphics look like someone ate the Duke Nukem franchise, then defecated all over a DS card. Duke Nukem Critical Mass has an average score of 4.4 out of 10.
How do you know this isn't some time discrepancy issue?
Number 3.
Elf Bowling 1 and 2 for the Nintendo DS is a compilation of 2 Flash games published by Ignition Entertainment in 2005. In Elf Bowling 1, players use the DS stylus to position Santa and adjust the power and angle of the bowling ball. In the sequel, Elf Bowling 2 Elves in Paradise, gameplay shifts from bowling to shuffleboard. Amazing. Some genius thought it would be a good idea to release 2 free-to-play Flash games onto the DS and charge people $20 for it. 5 minutes into this game and you'll seriously start rethinking all the choices you made in your life so far, especially if you went out and actually bought this thing. Elf Bowling has an average score of 4.3 out of 10.
Number 2.
Ping Pals is a social communication game published by THQ for the Nintendo DS in 2004. Ping Pals primarily functions as a chat application, allowing players to send text messages, emoticons, and drawings to each other. Up to 16 players can connect locally using the DS's wireless capabilities to chat and share content in real time. Unfortunately, this game made its debut on the DS about a month after Nintendo had already released PictoChat for the DS as a built-in feature. So Ping Pal's very existence was already made redundant a month before it ever came out. Sure, there were avatars and some minigames you could play here and there, but its primary function as a chat application just didn't make sense to buy, when the Nintendo DS already had this function by default. It also didn't help that several gaming publications nuked this thing into oblivion, with some even giving the game a 0 out of 10. Poor Ping Pals. Ping Pals has an average score of 3.8 out of 10.
Number 1.
Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash is a beat-em-up game published by Atari in 2007. Players control Godzilla and other monsters as they progress through levels fighting enemies and destroying obstacles. Each level is split into 2 planes, with one monster on the top screen and another on the bottom screen. Players can switch between the 2 screens to manage both monsters. At this point, I'm starting to think that they're just making these Godzilla games bad on purpose. I've yet to see a Godzilla game that hasn't almost instantly made me want to turn the damn thing off. No, I don't think it's fun walking or flying around kicking planes and boats for 5 minutes before you get to some inanimate object that you must perform a series of button combinations on in order to complete the level. I don't think this game is good, but I also don't think it really deserves to be the worst rated DS game. Unfortunately though, it did receive the lowest rating of any DS game according to Moby Games. Godzilla Double Smash has an average score of 3.5 out of 10.
Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos.